weirdo.
Oof.
I don't get no what you got in your head, that neural link. You'll never outthink me. Ever.
Genius.
Beyonce.
Gorgeous. A stab to my self-esteem.
For years, the world has celebrated Rihanna's rise as one of the most inspiring success stories in modern music. But what if that story was never organic? What if her breakthrough wasn't discovery, but design? Part of an orchestrated system that insiders now describe as coercive, manipulative, and deeply predatory. According to Jaguar Wright, Rihanna's career didn't begin with a record deal. It began with control. Wright alleges that the 2005 signing at Def Jam wasn't just business. It was a high-pressure setup that forced a 15-year-old to surrender her freedom to Jay-Z and his machine before she even understood what she was giving up. Industry witnesses confirmed that in February 2005, Rihanna was kept inside Def Jam's Manhattan office until 3 in the morning. The reason, they say, was to secure her signature before she could leave the building. The label's own lawyers reportedly drafted, reviewed, and finalized a multi-million-dollar contract in less than 10 hours. Something veterans have since called unheard of. No guardian was present. Her father, still in Barbados, didn't arrive until the following day. The question that haunts everyone who's heard this account is simple. Why the rush? And why the isolation? If this was just a signing, why were the doors locked until a teenager complied? And I'm not saying allegedly.
And I'm not saying allegedly.
Oh.
I'm saying, Sean Carter, you're a piece of shit. Taking Pimp C wasn't bad enough. You just want to go down there and you want to just remove all of the balls from every real gangster in Houston.
It's a night Rihanna herself once recounted in interviews. Though her tone was nervous, almost uncertain, she admitted she didn't sleep for 3 days after signing, a reaction that now sounds less like excitement and more like trauma. Jay-Z later told reporters who didn't let her leave without signing. It was said casually, even proudly, but looking back, that single sentence reads like an admission that control began before the ink was dry. The first person to confirm the machinery behind that night was Jonathan Hay, Rihanna's former publicist. Years later, he confessed to fabricating the rumor of a Jay-Z affair in 2005 to boost her early visibility. At first, it sounded like a cynical publicity stunt. Then came the twist. Hay revealed he had been interrogated by federal investigators not long after the signing. Agents who were probing Jay-Z's alleged involvement in moving underage performers across state lines. The details of that questioning confirmed in multiple interviews suggest the story wasn't about gossip at all. It was about a possible criminal network hiding behind the facade of a record label. When Hay was asked whether he knew of other girls being relocated for entertainment purposes, he said he felt his blood run cold. Beyoncé for sure. I love her, like I love Beyoncé. Jay-Z too. I really admire the both.
Beyoncé for sure. I love her. Like I love Beyoncé. Jay-Z too. I really admire the both.
Timeline that follows paints a disturbing picture. Within months of that office lock-in, Rihanna's debut single, Ponder Replay, exploded worldwide. Jay-Z personally oversaw every step, song selection, wardrobe, interviews. By 2007, when she accepted her first Grammy for Umbrella, he stood directly behind her on stage, almost shadowing her movements. At the time, fans called it mentorship, but viewed through Wright's lens, it looks more like supervision. Why did a label executive need to hover at her public moments? Why was every appearance built around his presence? By 2009, the relationship between Rihanna and Jay-Z had evolved from mentorship into something closer to dependence. That year, the widely reported incident with Chris Brown reshaped both of their careers. The image was clear. Jay-Z as a protective mentor, Rihanna as the wounded survivor, Chris Brown as the uncontrollable aggressor. Yet, Jaguar Wright insists that narrative was carefully scripted. She claims Jay-Z orchestrated the media rollout that followed the Diane Sawyer interview, the tearful sound bites, the precisely timed statements to redirect sympathy toward Rihanna while eliminating Brown as a threat to the brand. Wright's claim sounds outrageous until one looks at the precision of that campaign. Every interview question was pre-cleared. Every photo release was coordinated through Roc Nation's media wing. It wasn't raw confession, it was strategy.
And it was pretty much said like Jay doesn't really want awards. Well, he go to the Grammys.
Right.
He you know, come into the black-owned spaces. Let's figure out how to work together so that way we have the relationship when it matters, not when it's convenient for you and your image. Because they all call us when it's...
When Rihanna moved from Def Jam to Roc Nation in 2010, it seemed like a natural business decision. But that shift effectively placed her entire brand, music, fashion, and endorsements under Jay-Z's direct ownership. What looked like independence was actually consolidation. Sources close to the label recall how every creative choice, from collaborations to public statements, required approval from the top floor. Even her alleged feud with Beyoncé, widely reported during the title press conference in 2015, fit a familiar pattern. Women around Jay-Z divided while he remained the sole constant authority. The tension between Rihanna and Beyoncé became public that year when they refused to stand beside each other on stage at the title launch. Handlers later admitted the event required careful choreography to keep them apart. According to one insider, they were cordial for the cameras, nothing more. That same month, Rihanna was renegotiating her Roc Nation contract. The optics of rivalry served a purpose. It reinforced Jay-Z's role as the mediator between two of music's most powerful women, each dependent on his approval.
We know it's crazy rumors I'm sitting here talking to, so she was like, you know, rumors follow me at this time a lot. And
behind that rivalry sits a quieter, darker link. Beyoncé's life and career have long been intertwined with Jay-Z's business empire. She met him at 16, began dating at 18, and married at 26. Critics like Wright argue that pattern, older man, younger performer, full creative control, mirrors what happened with Rihanna and echoes rumors that once surrounded Aaliyah in the late 90s. Dame Dash, Aaliyah's former partner, has said Jay-Z was courting her when she was still a teenager. It's a timeline that repeats itself with uncomfortable precision. 2011, the system appeared unshakable until a name reemerged. Kathy White. A respected PR executive, White had been linked to Jay-Z years earlier. In late August of that year, she allegedly contacted a tabloid offering information about their relationship. 2 weeks later, she was gone under circumstances that authorities described as sudden and unclear. The official explanation cited a medical incident, but the autopsy was never released. The timing raised immediate questions. Just 48 hours before her passing, Beyoncé announced her pregnancy with Blue Ivy.
How do you know I'm not a gangster? Or used to be a gangster? I've been in the music industry for 30 years.
Yeah, I mean, the industry's filled with gangsters.
Want to hold a baby. Insiders recall that White had recently told friends she intended to go public about her connection to Jay-Z. One even claimed she hinted at a financial demand in exchange for silence. Whether true or not, the coincidence is staggering. A PR specialist preparing to expose an affair, a global pregnancy announcement, and a sudden unexplained tragedy. Those who investigated at the time noted that White's phone records were sealed, her online accounts wiped, and the story buried within days, which was buried within days. No follow-up ever reached mainstream outlets. For Wright, that event marked the turning point. She claims White's passing was not random. It was a signal to anyone who considered speaking out, and the most unsettling part is the alleged timing. The same week, Beyoncé's public life shifted from wife to mother. Jay-Z's rumored mistress vanished from the conversation entirely. The message Wright suggests was unmistakable because in the hierarchy of that empire, silence wasn't just expected, it was enforced. Kathy White's story was erased almost as quickly as it surfaced, and yet fragments remain. The leaked 911 call from a Manhattan apartment on West 19th Street, the missing autopsy, the friends who swore she had reached out to a tabloid, and the undeniable fact that her name keeps resurfacing every time Jay-Z faces scrutiny.
I want you to think about this. Allegedly, Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could level up Beyonce.
If the allegations are even partly true, then Kathy White's fate was more than coincidence. It was the ultimate act of damage control. She had allegedly told a friend she knew too much about contracts, about private encounters, and about a secret that would have shattered the couple's carefully protected image. 48 hours later, that voice was gone, and the world was celebrating a pregnancy announcement that restored the Carters' flawless narrative. I know so much on how you got where you are, how you stepped on many people. And this is where the threads begin to converge. The young performer coerced in a midnight signing that controlled media narratives, the pattern of silence witnesses. Every timeline intersects at one central figure whose influence seems immune to consequence. The deeper we follow these connections, the clearer the picture becomes. Power in the entertainment industry isn't just about fame or fortune. It's about who controls the story and who disappears when that control is threatened. Kathy White's disappearance wasn't merely an unfortunate coincidence. It was a message, and Beyoncé, by every account, was right in the middle of it. On September 2, 2011, Kathy White collapsed inside her Manhattan apartment. The official story called it a sudden brain aneurysm, but the initial police notes listed the scene as suspicious. What made it stranger was timing. Just 2 weeks earlier, White had contacted a tabloid promising to share details about her relationship with Jay-Z. And then, 48 hours before she was found, Beyoncé publicly announced her pregnancy with Blue Ivy. We can't help but wonder, was that timing coincidence or choreography? Beyoncé and Jay-Z will do anything to destroy anyone who speaks out against them.
Jay-Z's also been linked or connected in doing business with him. Now, Jay-Z has also been tied to Diddy through rumors and longtime allegations and conspiracies. We've all seen them online, like the one that claims Jay-Z allegedly cheated on Beyoncé with Kathy.
Those who knew Kathy remember her as bright, confident, and finally ready to tell her story. Her friend, model Claudia Jordan, later admitted that Kathy had spoken openly about being involved with Jay-Z. Jordan's account clashed sharply with the official report that ruled White's passing natural. Even stranger, the autopsy was never made public. For an incident that rattled both entertainment and PR circles, the silence felt too absolute. And 5 years later, when Beyoncé released Lemonade, the album that turned whispers of infidelity into a cultural storm, many wondered if it was really about betrayal at all, or a carefully timed diversion from the ghost of Kathy White. Because Lemonade didn't just paint Beyoncé as a woman wronged, it crowned her as the ultimate survivor. The public saw tears and rage. The art world saw empowerment, and the headlines saw redemption. But what if the project's deeper purpose was containment? Kathy's story had been buried for years, but it still lingered in backstage chatter by turning Jay-Z's alleged unfaithfulness into a polished narrative of forgiveness. Beyoncé reset the world's sympathy. She didn't just take control of the message. She erased the need for anyone to ask about 2011 again.
Beyoncé and Jay-Z will do anything to destroy anyone who speaks out against them.
That silence grows even louder when we remember what happened before Kathy, before the empire even solidified. Dame Dash's 2023 remarks reopened one of music's most delicate wounds, the loss of Aaliyah in 2001. Dash called her passing suspicious and hinted that Jay-Z had been obsessed with her before she was gone. It was a claim that rewrote familiar history. If true, it would mean that two women connected to Jay-Z, Aaliyah, and Kathy met eerily similar fates a decade apart. And in both cases, Beyoncé's star rose higher in the aftermath, her image polished and untouchable. Patterns like that don't prove conspiracy, but they do make us pause. How many coincidences can one career sustain? The deeper we look, the clearer it becomes that this may never have been about one woman or even two. By the mid-2010s, whispers began spreading through studio corridors that Jay-Z's empire was less a label and more a holding cell for talent. Artists who tried to leave found their career stalled, their projects mysteriously delayed, or their contracts suddenly extended. He was among the first to call it out publicly in 2015, accusing Jay-Z of holding artists hostage through titles restrictive deals. What sounded like a feud at the time now reads like a warning. An insider shouting about a system built not on collaboration but on ownership. Those same patterns reportedly surfaced again in 2017 when Rihanna quietly renegotiated her Roc Nation contract after more than a decade of creative control clauses. Insiders say the terms were restructured to grant her partial independence, but only after years of limited access to her own masters and brand rights. For an artist at her level, that kind of delay made no sense unless the goal was to keep her tethered. Lawyers close to the label have since claimed that Roc Nation contracts contain layers of NDAs and steep financial penalties designed to silence anyone who questions internal practices, and once signed, those papers ensure that even the loudest stars stay quiet.
There was no internet, people taking pictures of you and putting your personal life or exploiting your personal life as entertainment. I think people are so brainwashed. You get up in the morning, you click on the computer, you see all these pictures, and it's all you think of is the picture and the image that you see all day, every day.
If Rihanna's deal began under pressure, what does that say about every performer who followed? The blueprint seems consistent. Isolation, silence, loyalty enforced by legal threat. For every superstar like her, there may be a dozen lesser-known voices still trapped in the fine print, paying for freedom with the very fame that was promised to them. It's no longer just a story about manipulation. It's about an industry where silence has become the highest form of currency. And if that's true, then Rihanna's story isn't the end of the mystery. It's only the first name on a much longer list. I hear that you're a big fan of Beyonce.
There are people who did short sales on their stocks right after that, made a lot of money, including Sean Carter. Now I'm going to ask you, why would non-disclosure agreements need to be signed for an accident?
2015, cracks and the carefully drawn alliances began to show. At the title launch, Beyonce and Rihanna famously refused to stand beside each other. Publicists blamed logistics. Insiders whispered otherwise, that the women's long-standing tension stemmed from the man who built both of their careers. Stephen A. Smith added new heat in 2023 when he revealed Jay-Z had personally called to stop him from comparing Rihanna and Beyonce on air. The reason Smith implied wasn't vanity, it was protection. Jay-Z didn't just manage music, he managed perception. And Beyonce's image was the cornerstone of that entire structure. When one star's shine risked overshadowing another's, the narrative adjusted. Rivalries became strategy. Silence became survival. The pattern stretches over decades. 3 women, 3 tragedies, 1 power couple whose influence never wavered. Aaliyah's 2001 plane crash. Kathy White's 2011 collapse in the explosive 2024 lawsuit alleging that Jay-Z, alongside Diddy, mistreated a 13-year-old at an MTV afterparty in 2000. Every case circles back to young women, to secrets, to vanished voices. And each time Beyonce's career seemed to flourish in the stillness that followed. When the 2023 federal lawsuit was refiled in 2024, it wasn't just a legal story. It was the return of everything the industry tried to forget. Court papers described events whispered about for years, names buried in NDAs and sealed settlements. We're left asking, if the rumors have followed him for 2 decades, why is the world only listening now? I think that they don't want if they was in any of those freak-off